Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, ancient, natural, divine heirs. Today is August the 19th, 1442 on the ancient moon calendar, 1441 on the ancient sun calendar, and 2021 on the Greco-Roman calendar. All rise and stand. This is a sovereign, ancient, living, natural, divine, Article 3, Moorish American Al-Moroccan Consular Court action. I am Sovereign Living Justice, Pauline Denise Ritchie, in capitis diminutio nolo, in red ink, in proprio persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio horedes, no United States Corporation Company citizen, nor their agents, principals, heirs, assigned, nor any derivatives thereof has personam jurisdiction, nor territorial jurisdiction, nor subject matter jurisdiction over me, nor over any more. My free, chosen, sovereign appellation is like the jury bay, in capitis diminutio nolo, in red ink, in proprio persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio horedes. So before the recording started, we were talking about, or I was actually discussing the past and things that happened to me in the past before I woke up, because one of the hybrids came into our meeting and put in the chat something about a DUI that I got over 10 years ago. And I wanted to talk about that because, just briefly, as we go into our subject matter, because I think it's important that we know that we all, during colonialism and before we woke up, we all had things that we were dealing with back then. And those things are the result of corporate capitalist colonialism and our consent to it. So we have to take full responsibility because we consented to be in that system. We consented to be in that system. That's where things like DUIs and charges, quote unquote, come from, that system. So let's point to that system and get rid of it. That's why we're here. And I believe we just put in the chat to have one effect, or we're going to use it, or to have to further what we're doing. And what we're doing is getting rid of capitalism. So when I first started doing this work, I knew that we were stepping on some toes, because that same thing, it's called, in the bibliotext, it's called the accusers of the brethren. That same thing came up, so I went on to social media and I posted a photo of the mugshot that was placed on the Public Records Act 12 years ago when that happened. And I said, okay, and I meant this when I said it, I said, okay, this is out here. Now you've got nothing else you can use. Now what you got? Now what are you going to talk about? What you going to point to? Nothing. That's all you got? I can put that out there. And so that's why, full disclosure, it's out there. That's been out there. I put that out there 3-4 years ago when we first started doing this work and we started stepping on toes. People start putting that out there, the one or two who told we were stepping on. And at that time, it was some 501c3s that were putting it out there. Oh, don't listen to her. Look, this is from 1990, whatever, or 2009, you know, or whatever time it was, you know, but not any time now. Look at me now. And here's the thing: we're not even judging more who get into those situations right now. What we need to do is make sure that even the ones who do things like that, now that we're awake and they know who they are, when things like that happen, we don't need to be judging them. We need to be making sure that they're in our system so that justice is served, and not a system that's going to unlawfully do whatever and not give them due process, not give them their rights, none of that. That's why we're here. They don't need to be going into a capitalist system when they make a mistake or do something. They need to be coming to their own brothers and sisters so there can be equity, fairness, and so that they can be returned back to their noble status. And we don't lose our status because our status is in our blood. But they need to be returned back to who they are. Back in the day, our ancestors used to, whenever any of us made a mistake or did something in our nation, whenever we did something that was not noble, okay, we would, whoever that was, we would all gather around them in a circle and put them in the middle of the circle. And what would we do? Each one of us would go around in the circle and positively affirm them. State some positive affirmation about our brother and sister. Even if they were being evil and mean and deceitful to one another and all of that, we would put them in the middle of the circle and start saying, just casting spells on them that are all positive. You're intelligent, you're beautiful, you're smart, we love you. You know, when we keep doing things like that, because see, we need to bring that one back. I don't care what they do, we need to bring that back, that practice back. And we can do that even on calls like this, where our brothers and sisters do something and get themselves into a situation. We can do it on calls like this, where when their name comes up, we automatically start speaking positivity over them. Automatically start speaking positively over them. So even though that was over a decade ago that happened, you know, we can still to this day, for Moors that is happening for right now, and that will happen in the future for some Moors until they realize that they don't have to do those things, that we can still speak positively over them and resist the temptation to speak negatively about them, because then that's going to ruin the programming that the hybrids put out there, where they're trying to keep us divided, and they'll stop trying that stuff. They'll stop pulling that mess. When we call it out for what it is and then speak positively on our brothers and sisters, call those fake foreign mess out. Yep, it's a mess. It's a mess. And had we not been in that system, none of us would be thinking that we had some charge against us, because they weren't even talking to us. They were talking to a court. Well, where does that leave us? That leaves all of us blameless. It leaves all of us blameless, without sin. So no matter what's happened to you in the past, if they put it in a fake system, you're still without sin. You're the gods anyway. So I'm sure that was put there also to take us off, because they know where we're going. So we want to get on this subject matter that we're going to be on today, because this is important. We're freeing ourselves, and they want to keep pulling us back with negativity. We ain't going to let it happen. And we're going to snatch some more sandwiches today. So you might as well hand it over. So let's go ahead and get this subject matter going here. Islam. So recently, one of the Moors asked me a very good question. The question that I was asked is, what happens to go back to Moorish sovereign delarium when Moors create it and give it to the subjects? What happens to it? What do the subjects do with it? So I want to preface what we're going to Islam, just as Frank, I see you in the chat. Islam, ain't nothing wrong with that. Do what you do. You're sovereign. You can do whatever you want to do. Islam. So yes, that's good. So I want to preface what we're talking about by stating that we are the United States Treasury, and our gold backed Moorish sovereign dollarium are issued directly from us, the United States Treasury. Okay? When we print and issue dollarium, we're doing the same thing that the quote unquote Federal Reserve and the quote unquote Treasury were doing. We got all of that covered, so we don't need them no more. Okay, to do anything as far as the issuing of money and all of that, we do that, and that's why they stopped issuing money. I'm sorry, fiat. They stopped issuing fiat because we have begun circulating our own Moorish sovereign dollarium. So if you go out onto the news and go out onto these financial channels, they'll say that they're not printing any more money, any more fiat. And that has everything to do with the fact that we started printing fiat. So we're the Treasury. And as we see areas in our lives where the law needs to be applied, we print out gold-backed Moorish sovereign dollarium in a generous and competent amount and draft affidavits to reflect our sovereign will. Okay. So now I want to give you an example of what that looks like, of what happens to Moorish sovereign dollarium when we print it up and we give it to the subjects with a competent affidavit. So, example, we print out 1 million in Moorish sovereign dollarium with sovereign affidavit to manifest our will. We deliver the affidavit with Moorish sovereign dollarium to the subject with tracking. So we want to track the items that the affidavits and the money. We must track affidavits and we must track money. Even if we're hand delivering it, place your proof of delivery on the public record, or so that you know that when it was delivered. And then number one, the Moorish sovereign dollarium is received by the subject system. And the reason we say subject system is because it's a system that we're really speaking to, and the subjects are a part of that system. Okay? So the system that we speak to, the subjects already know what that system is. That's why we put them there. When they were in corporate status, they were acting as if the system belonged to them. But in reality, that's not true. That's why we remove the corporate covering. And then we tell that system what to do, just like we said in a video 2 years ago. We said that we were going to proclaim our sovereign status, and then on the public record, we are going to, just one moment. I am going to, just so that we're not distracted, we're going to do that just for now. We'll turn it back on in a little while. Islam, Justice Frank, we know that that's not you, Islam. So we didn't shut off the chat. I just shut off the chat. That way they don't have anything to say. They can't speak. We've muted them, and they can't speak in the chat either, Islam. So we give them the subject system that we're referring to. The subjects know what to do, and when they were in corporate status, they were pretending to own the system like it was theirs. So we remove that corporate covering, and then we turn around and tell that system what to do. And when we tell that system what to do competently, the system shall obey. So let's just say, for example, we print out 1 million in Moorish sovereign dollarium, and we give it to the subjects with competent affidavit. The subjects then accept the deposit, accept the affidavit, and we talked about acceptance. Acceptance does not look like what we thought it looked like. Acceptance is when we hand it to you, that's accepted. We don't need a big reception. We don't need a bunch of flowers. We don't need them to say we accept this. By virtue of them being on our land, when we hand them something, it is accepted. When we put it on the counter and they're sitting there or standing there, it's accepted, period. We don't even have to exchange words. So the subject will accept and deposit the $1 million in gold-backed credit into the bank, okay? And people are wondering what's happening with the banking system. We're going to talk about that. And then number 3, the bank accepts the $1 million in gold-backed Moorish sovereign dollarium money and issues 1 million banking credits into the system. The account of the receiver is part and parcel of our quantum financial system. Therefore, the receiver now has 1 million credits with which to obey our written, autographed, competent commands in the proper format, which is by Moorishe National Republic Federal Government Affidavit in red ink in capitis diminutio nolo. Okay, so they're going to take the Moorish sovereign dollarium that we autograph in red and all lowercase letters and put our right red thumbprint on whatever that denomination is. And here is examples of Moorish sovereign dollarium. And anyone needing Moorish sovereign dollarium, please let us know. You can text me. And thank you for those who've been texting their requests for dollarium. We appreciate that, and we're getting it to you as quickly as possible. We are just about caught up again on the text messages that we received in the last 2 or 3 days. We're caught up on any previous to that. So you can text me at 334-294-9828, or you can send an email to the government at gmail.com. The government, GOVERNMENTE. The word government has an E on the end, at gmail.com, and we will get some dollarium to you, okay? And another thing about the dollarium, we had heard from the subjects saying that corporates had gotten possession of some dollarium. Doesn't matter. They can't use it. They can't use it, and the subjects can't even sign it and use it. It has to have our sovereign autograph and our red thumbprint on it in order for it to be usable. Okay, so anyone that's giving out dollarium, if it doesn't have the sovereign autograph of the sovereign heirs on it, it's not going to be honored by the system. The system will reject it. Okay, and the subjects are aware of that. So the right red autograph that's on the affidavit that accompany the dollarium, is all of that goes together. And subjects don't write those. Corpses don't write those. And that's why it's important for everything to be in red and all lowercase letters. Because that is the difference between our system and a black system, a black corporate system. So the account of the receiver is part and parcel of our quantum financial system. Therefore, the receiver now has a million credits with which to obey our written, autographed, competent commands in the proper format. So what is the process for Moors to use gold-backed Moorish sovereign dollarium in commerce? The process starts with proclaiming your sovereign status on the public record competently in red and all lowercase letters, which is in capitis diminutio nolo, by way of the name or appellation change and judicial proclamation document. Properly claim your vast estate with the sovereign-born appellation. in red and all lowercase letters, as well as the sovereign security number. Those two creditor items are necessary for proper claiming of your vast estate. And then terminate all corporate contracts, okay? And corporate contracts are any contracts in black ink with capital letters. Number 3, place a Moorish National Republic Federal Government Universal Commercial Code 1 lien affidavit on the Social Security number, that black one, and on the corpse name, i.e. the non-de-jure war name and wardship name. All affidavits are in sovereign Article 3 consular court action format, okay? And that just means that you're using it. It's on government letterhead, and this language right here that's on the screen right now, let me just make sure it's up there. Yeah, it's up there. This language that's on the screen right now is the language that is used. All rise and stand. This is a sovereign, living, ancient, Article 3, Moorish, American, Al-Moroccan consular court action. All affidavits should start with that language. Okay? So, so now, once those things are done, then you can prepare to do banking in the way that the sovereigns do banking. Now, I'll say this about the banking system because, see, we've been talking about the banking system in terms of using the systems that are out there already in order to accomplish what we need to accomplish. I'll say this about those systems. Yes, those systems belong to us. That's number one. Number two, we have to set up our own system first, which is what we've done, and we'll show you how to use it shortly. We set up our own system because due to the corruption of the previous system, that system is going to have to close completely first so that the corruption can be clear. And that closing, I believe that was the 90 days that our prophet was talking about, where everything grinds to a halt. A halt means everything stops. And it might look like a lot has stopped, but not everything has stopped. And we need to be able to function and govern while everything is halted. Specifically the banking. So we've set up the basic format of banking being halted. And then when the banking starts back up again, it will start back up again, and we will upload all that we're doing right now up into the system. We'll have records of it, of its foundation, and we'll be able to upload it into the system so that we are the only ones using that system. The systems cannot be mingled and mixed together because that's not how this works. You cannot use fiat and gold-backed currency in the same transactions and in the same way. Okay, so that system is halted because the corporate system itself was based on the fact that we were asleep. So we were the capital that they were using, and right now what they're doing is they're using debt as capital, and there's only so much of that you can do before that thing collapses. It's already finished, okay? But right now, as Moors wake up, they're replacing the capital that we thought we were. They're replacing that with debt. And if a system is completely debt, it can't function, because that means that's like half the system being missing. Okay? Whereas if a system is 100% a creditor system, then you have things coming in and going out, but what it's being replaced with is more credit. It's valid. You can't keep calling debt credit and expect that to work. It's not going to work. It doesn't work. It creates an eternal loop of debt. So just from what I'm seeing and from the way I see things going, and correct me if you see anything other than what I'm seeing, let me know. But that system has to stop for 90 days so that they can it can be cleaned and cleared out and moved out of the way. That corporate covering completely moved off of everything that's being done. And then what's left is going to be the resources. So the bank buildings are not going anywhere. The system itself is not going anywhere. It's still going to be there. The electronic funds conveyance methods are not going anywhere. They're still going to be there. But the corporate paper that told that system what to do has to stop telling it what to do, and then our affidavits will be there saying, okay, system, do this, and here is the resources that you need in order to do whatever it is we need you to do. So we'll be placing the gold-backed resources into the system after the cleaning and clearing out of all of the fiat transactions and exchanges that have taken place since 1780 something or 1776, etc. Okay? So when we first started doing this work, it was taking what seemed like a little bit longer for them to obey the commands. But now it's not taking so long for them to obey our commands. In fact, it's almost instantly that they're obeying our commands because the clearing out has started. They needed to clear space so that we could take that space and clean it and use it. Okay? But the space can't be empty. And that's why they haven't just automatically gone completely away, because the space cannot be empty. It has to have something there that's valid. Okay? And we see that where the validity is coming in at when we speak and stand and do what we're doing now. So let's take a look now at one moment. Open up a few things. Just one moment. Okay. Okay. So are there any questions or comments with regard to banking or the banking system thus far? And you can unmute yourselves. You can just star 6 and unmute yourself.
Islam. How big does the money have to be?
Say again?
How big does the money have to be?
We do 3" by 6". Whereas fiat was just under that. It was 6 inches by 2 point something. So it's slightly bigger than fiat.
So you said 3 by 6?
Yes, which equals 9. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, and then what you have on the screen We just put that on Facebook. We just put that on Facebook, right?
You can put it on Facebook. You can put it on anywhere that the public can see it without having any specific special access.
Islam.
You know, like without having to pay some membership fee or something like that to see it. Membership fees indicate something is private, whereas if it's just available for people to just get, it's public.
Yeah, Islam.
Islam wars.
So, Islam.
I got a question. Are you going to make Delarium available to Moors that are not nationalized or claiming their nationality?
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you for that. So here's how Delarium works. The way Delarium works is that it works the same way that fiat worked. So in the 1913 Federal Reserve Act, the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, whoever used fiat was considered or consenting to be a Federal Reserve agent. So whoever uses Moorish sovereign Delarium is agreeing to be a sovereign free Moorish American national according to their bloodline and birthright. They have to be of the bloodline and birthright though.
Okay, we need to inform them of that then.
That's on the public record. Yes, it is on the public record.
Okay.
In other words, whether they had time to even get the paperwork done, because some don't even have time to get the paperwork done before the policy enforcers have popped up and done something. But remember how the hybrids used to carry a silver dollar or a piece of silver around with them as their quote-unquote money because they knew fiat wasn't right? And they were saying, if you carry this silver around, that means that they can't arrest you. Okay, well, that's not necessarily what that meant for them because of their status. However, for Moorish American nationals, even your use of Moorish sovereign Delarium in the first place indicates that you know that you're not a U.S. citizen.
Okay. Okay. Islam. And one other thing I want to say about these public printers. Public printers, many of them have memory of them. And if you go to a public printer and print your Delarium, run some paper through it after you print, okay? Of course, sometimes they print from the computer. Also, they send it from the computer to the printer. However, but I've experienced certain public printers have memory, and I printed documents, and the documents be stuck in the memory for a few minutes. So I just want to mention that so people will be aware of it. Moors will be aware of it. Islam.
So you're saying that the document was paused momentarily and then it printed out? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying it printed the document. However, the document, the memory of the document, it was still stuck in the printer even after I had printed the document. It would still print that same document for a few minutes. It took about I remember one incident. It took about 10, 15 minutes for that memory to clean itself up.
Yes. Yes. I've experienced that even here with my printer.
Okay.
I don't worry too much about that. Even if I was going to Kinko's or FedEx Kinko's and printing things out, etc.
Right.
Because they've been leaned to. They're under the United States Corporation Company, so they're under the authority of the heirs. And
okay.
So we don't. Yeah. Thank you for that, Nobility. Because
right. I just saw it needed to be said. So because we actually don't want this to just get in anybody's hands. That's what I'm thinking. Okay.
Well, know that. Yes, you're right about that. Know that it doesn't matter who gets the documents. Okay, if the documents don't have our sovereign wet ink, red, all lowercase, autographed with a bright red thumbprint on it, they can't do anything with it because it doesn't have their trademark. It has our trademark.
Okay, exactly. Thank you. Just want to put it out.
Islam. Thank you for that. Islam Empress. The Empress, let's let the Empress go first, and then you can go nobility. Go ahead, Empress.
With the affidavits that we include within our packets for our demonstration, what are all of those affidavits that we need to have in there?
That's a good question. So the affidavits that I put with my demonstration, that's this most recent Delarium demonstration that I did with the Secretary for State's office, which is our office. We all Moors, that's our office. When I delivered the documents, hand-delivered those documents to them with the Delarium, I included, first of all, my name change and judicial proclamation were already on the public record, and they had already been notified of that, okay? And that's the reason for the 7 locations piece that we encourage Moors to do when they first proclaim their status, is to send out to the Secretary of State's office and the Attorney General and et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
So they already had that, so I didn't include that in there. But I did include a copy of my moorishe ID in red and all lowercase letters. I also included the Postmaster General affidavit stating that we are the sovereign Postmaster General, and my documents say I and all Moors. Okay, so I would encourage you to do the same, just in case any Moors come and they don't have those documents. It will still cover our brothers and sisters too. But we need as many of us as possible to get those documents. I also included a currency controller document, affidavit, a Moorish government currency controller affidavit stating that we control our own currency, okay? And that's on government letterhead, Moorish National Republic Federal Government letterhead in red and all lowercase letters. I also included, what did I include in there also? And then I put a list on social media of the other documents that I put in there that were specific to that office. Okay. With regard to some things that the Moors we're commanding to we're doing it, and we don't want any encumbrance while we do it. So that was some of the things that I put in there. Okay. Well, you want to have on the public record your name change, appellation change, and judicial proclamation. You want to have a termination of all corporate contracts on there. And you also want to have a lien on the corporate social and the corporate nom de guerre. Okay. Okay, and wardship name, you want to have a lien on those on the public record also. And if you are not sure whether they would have received, the 7 locations would have received it, then just include it in documents that you send out, just for general purposes, just to make sure that you feel comfortable with what you send. Okay. And a copy of moorishe ID. And in red and all lowercase letters.
The list that you were talking about, that's on the consulate page, the public records page, or is that on your page?
Here's the list. Here's the list right here.
Okay.
And then I can put it should be the currency controller documents, and those are under the video where I talked about currency controller. So it's on YouTube under the videos.
Okay.
Okay. And I will put the currency controller document under, I'll put the copy of my own under this video on YouTube. Currency controller document. I also gave them unum sanctum.
Okay.
Unum sanctum is us stating that we are the Roman Pontiff or the Pope because we are in red and all lowercase letters. The Vatican is actually ancient Timbuktu. And we were there first, we built it. And so they take their orders from the Pope. The policy enforcers and the military were taking their orders from the Pope because he was ensuring them. Well, now we do.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Once we rip that corporate covering off, they work for us. Okay, so unum sanctum document, currency controller document. I also included the sovereign secretary for state document. I also included the sovereign law enforcement document where we're the sovereign law enforcement for our land. I included the sovereign governor document because I was going to the Capitol. So we're letting them know we're all of that. We're the president, we're the governor, we're the mayor, we're all of that in red and all lowercase letters, and we spell it the way that we spell things in ancient English so that there's no confusion about that we're the original.
Okay.
Islam.
Gratitude.
Islam. And I'll put the documents under this video, all of them, the currency controller, the sovereign governor, the secretary for sovereign state, the law enforcement documents, where we're the police, we're the chief for police, all of us, and all of that. So they work for us. So I'll put those documents under this video.
Islam. Much
Islam. Islam. And that way you all can download them and edit them and put your appellations in them, stating the same thing. Okay.
Okay.
Islam
nobility.
Islam, sister. You said earlier that the system be reacting instantaneously to your commands. How come you're not operating out of First Avenue?
You're a hybrid, aren't you?
Yeah, you got that right, you dumb bitch.
Well, now, if you're going to
answer the question, Pauline. Answer the question, Pauline. I'll be respectful. I'll be respectful. Why don't you answer the question? How come you're not? How come you haven't taken over First Avenue?
It's already ours. It's already ours.
Why don't you occupy it and work out of it? That was your intent, was to work out of it.
Because we don't occupy our land. We don't occupy our land. It's ours.
Well, that's not what you said a long time ago. You said that you were going to take over that building a long time ago.
Hold on now. You can't ask a question. You can't ask a question and not let me answer it. You said that you were going to work out of that building. You were going to do inventory and do all kinds of... If you ask a question, I know he don't want the answer, but I'm going to give it to him. That's acceptance. Acceptance is being in this meeting. That means you accept everything we say because you're here. We're in control of this meeting, and we will stay in control of it. We're in control of this land. We're going to stay in control of the land, too. So,
well, now, I'm still here, Pauline. Why don't you tell people why you're not working out?
Hold on. I know you're still here. That means further acceptance of what I'm about to say. So, now, let me speak. Oh, you can't let me speak. I let myself speak. Okay. So now, we don't occupy anything on our land. Everything on our land belongs to us. Occupation, see, that was a trick question, but we own it more. We got this. We don't occupy our land. They were occupying. That's why he used that term. And that's why you don't go back and forth with them like that. This is a court action. So I'm allowing him to ask some questions. in this court action. He has agreed to subject status, and we're going to keep him there. But this is how we can all come together and talk and get things done by court action, because everything we say is the law. So, yes, hybrid, modern European.
You said a long time ago.
We're right here. We're right here. No, you're going to be quiet while I speak. And I don't care if I speak for 3 more hours. You're going to be quiet until I'm done. We control this. We got this. So now, we're here, right here. We don't have to occupy anything. We're working right from where we So now, the point that I wanted to make, because again, we're in complete control of this. We're going to stay in control of it. And when we say get out of this meeting, you coming out the meeting, period. Okay? So now, we're working from right where we want to work from. This is where we said we were going to be working from, and this is where we're going to work from. We don't have to occupy anything. The building belongs to us. It's already ours. Wherever hybrids are speaking from, that belongs to us too. So let's stay on task, and no, they're not going to get us off of this money piece, because this money piece is the part that they didn't want us to get to. That's why they're here. So let's keep going. What other questions from the Moors are there? Islam.
Islam.
Go ahead, Nobility.
This is what I figured as anything else.
Is this about the topic, the money piece?
Well, money piece is also considered currency, and currencies deal with the flow of things, where this is their barter. And that's why it's a vague topic where money is value, not the consequences. The consequences and value also has to be considered. That's why people always talk the way they talk, because they only talk about one side, half truth. And I always try to remind people to put themselves in path, talk about two truths, so that way there should be no dispute. Sometimes it sounds brutal, but it has to be that way, considering the fact that this is a half-truth they always consider their favorite. I put people in mind that, when talking about currencies, it's good to talk about money, talk about the value, but consider the consequences as well. That's the other side of it. And this is why I always talk about barter. Barter was the first currency, because we have to discuss an agreement into the terms. That's it. As far as lands goes, as the other person's trying to indicate, was I was trying to say from where we were taught impractical, whereas God, land, and country. We do it opposite. We do family, land. We do family, land, then country. this is why we protect our land, because we want to put family there. But as far as currency is concerned, I always believe that people likes to talk, one side. And I say there's always two sides to the subject of every subject.
Okay,
positive and negative.
So what is the side that because we want to make sure that we're understanding what you're saying about you're talking about one-sidedness. Let's
right.
Can we hear the other side?
Well, the other side is the consideration of consequences. It's like the negative fact that people don't want to portray, which is the barter. We're talking about currency. Mm-hmm. And that's what we consider. How effective are we using our currency?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dear Lord, you're talking to this retarded?
Go ahead, Nobility.
That's all right. I mean, just to say the least, if he has to express himself that way, I'd be by all means.
Well, let's not let him get you off. Keep going on what you're talking about, because we need to talk about this stuff. We need to talk about.
Because it's just like saying, I like to talk to two sides where it's more effective.
You're an over-medicated moop.
When we have a chance to say something, we say something where he can't question it, he can't object it, he can't transject it or inject it. This is why it would shut him out, because last time he didn't brought up the simple fact of, suppose you went to a supermarket. Never brought up that because it's been defeated. So this is why he likes to put it out there, because he knows for a fact it's entrapment to his angle, point blank. So that's why he's all quiet on one subject, knowing for a fact it's been defeated. I love the way he talks, because he's only expressing the fact that he's only talking half-truth. That's why you always could tell a person that it's talking half-truth, is talking about his angle of saying, you haven't considered consequences. Well, we consider both, and he cannot say nothing. That's why we're always trying to be objective.
Yes, Islam. So here is, so where we want to go from here in terms of what we're doing, I wanted to take an opportunity to show, just one.
Come on, Pauline, tell them more about.
Give me just a moment. I want to take an opportunity to show you how we were able to transfer some money from, I transferred some more sovereign valarium from me to Empress Jonaya the other day. And again, this is how we're going to have to do our banking while this transition takes place, okay? The transition is definitely going to, it's gonna not be as comfortable for everyone on the earth, actually. Okay, it's not going to be as comfortable, but we're going to be fine through the change. And I have a feeling it's going to be a lot smoother than we anticipated it to be. So if you'll give me just a moment to
cult members, listen to Pauline closely. Cult members, attention cult members. Listen to your cult leader, Pauline, who was supposed to take over First Avenue months and months ago. She said she was going to be doing inventory there and all kinds of stuff. She was going to do all kinds of business, just the way that she says, all kinds of business.
Don't worry, Mose, just hold on.
She's going to hold on, Mose.
A hater.
Hold on, Mose.
You got a hater.
We're going to get him out here, Mose. We're going to do all kinds of business on First Avenue. We're going to be taking it over real soon.
Boy. Quiet, Alphabet Boy.
She said that months and months.
Quiet, Alphabet Boy.
Fuck you, Pauline. Fuck off, Pauline. Hey,
Alphabet
listen,
boy.
you're cackling bitch. You're a cackling witch is all you are, Pauline. Cackling witch is all you know. Oh,
Peace and
love.
There it is.
Peace and love.
Grand Rising. Islam.
Grand Rising, peace and love, Willie Popo. Grand Rising, peace and love.
Islam. Yes. Grand Rising to the Moors. Islam. So, now y'all know when I called him Alphabet Boy, he got mad.
And you embarrassed him, too.
That's a corporate Alphabet Boy. He ain't even the real one. He's not even the real one. We're the red ones in red and all lowercase letters. He just
I'm not mad, Pauline. I just want you to fuck off.
Yes, you're mad.
I'm not mad. I just want you to.
I'm still in control of this meeting, just so that you're aware. And you will be quiet. So I wanted to take a moment and show you all, because see, this is, you see how hard they fighting. They don't want me to show you this because they already know it's over when I do. So let me, first let me make sure that the energy in the group is what it should be before we release this information, because I want to be sure that we are all on the same page and that no damage is done in terms of the energy that those guys try to put into this meeting. They know they can't stop us, okay? But let me just take a moment here. Just one moment. And let's all put our energies into a positive place so that as we introduce this information, that it reaches the ground that it needs to reach, the fertile ground, and that it takes hold, because this is changing the whole earth. We're changing the whole earth right now. And that is why the fight is going on like that. So let's just take a moment. Just one moment. Let's take just a minute or two. Just a minute or two, and just give thanks that we've reached this place where no matter what they try to do, they can't stop us. Just a moment. Just a moment. Thank you, ancestors, for this time. 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 Okay. So back to the banking piece, because see, I know that the fight has been where money is concerned. That's been the biggest hurdle in the past where the programming is concerned. At one point, we thought we couldn't get anything without fiat. And that's why this fight is what it is. And it's not even a fight. They're trying to present a fight, but it's not a fight. All it takes is for us to do what we're doing. So they're doing everything they can to cast doubt and cast spells, etc. It's not going to work. Morris, hold on for just one moment. I'm going to because I want to show you this, but I need to clear what they have on what's going on this computer. Okay. And this way I can show you. They like to mess up recordings. I don't even care. We still don't get the information out there. Oh boy. Islam. Okay. So let's go into, thank you for waiting more. Thank you for your patience during this time. They're doing everything they can, but we will not stop. We're not going to stop, period. Okay. Get to the document here. Okay. So I want to show you how I was able to transfer 50,000 dollarium to Empress Jonaya, and she was able to not only see the actual real-time transfer, she was also able to, if she wanted to pull it up on her phone, she could pull it up on her phone and see that the money had been transferred to her. And then all she had to do was accept it. And then send me a receipt or a text message saying received, or a screenshot from her phone saying received. And when she sent that, then I could make the entry into my own bank account. Okay? This is how we're going to be doing banking while the systems do what they need to do. Okay? So, and I'm going to show you in screenshots how you can do it. Banking 101 starts with, and we're doing it right now, analog banking. With analog banking, you go to the Google search engine, and here, so like most of us have a Gmail account. And when I go to Google from my Gmail, I can look up in the corner. So this is Google here. You look up in this corner right here where this red arrow is, And it says here, it has 9 dots here. Okay, so you'll click on the 9 dots, and it's going to bring up a menu. And this is what the menu looks like, the 9 dots. You click on the 9 dots, you're going to come to a menu, and you scroll down until you see here, Sheets. It'll be Google Sheets. When you click on Sheets, it's going to bring up this right here, where it will say blank. So it'll say Sheet, started in spreadsheet. It'll say blank, and then it'll have these other options that you can do, where you can do any type of financial transactions, where you can keep track of finances. But you want to click on blank to start a new spreadsheet. And this is how you're going to keep track of your bank account and the things that you need to do with your moorishe bank account. Okay? Your gold-backed bank account. And again, we're doing this so that while the systems are changing, okay, while everything is migrating over, we can keep track of everything that's going on, so that we can just upload these spreadsheets right up to whatever we need to upload them to, okay? So now let me show you where I was able to send Empress Jonaya the 50,000 dollarium by way of the spreadsheet that I created. So here. Let me go to the spreadsheet. So what I did was I created this spreadsheet in Google Sheets, and I was on the phone with her as I was creating the spreadsheet. And so I shared the spreadsheet. If you click share with someone, if you click share, they'll be able to see what you're doing as you're typing it. Okay, so I wanted to be sure that I spelled her sovereign-born appellation properly. I wanted to be sure that I took notes on when this took place, how it took place, etc. Okay, who it was from, which was me, and who it was to, which was her. So you can see here I created this spreadsheet from me, Pauline Denise Ritchie, in red in all lowercase letters here, to Johnny May Wilson here in red in all lowercase letters, the amount, 50,000. The gold-backed species is, in this case, is moorishe sovereign dollarium. But again, you can transfer any kind of gold or silver. You can do coins. You can do anything that has to do with gold, silver, platinum, whatever it is, whatever the natural resource is, you can put whatever that natural resource is in there. I put dollarium in there. She was watching me because I shared this spreadsheet with her. Okay, so I just clicked on share, and then I put in her email, and she was actually able to log into her email and see what I was doing. Okay. Here, it was done on August the 12th, 1442. It was for a gift. The transaction status is complete because our transaction settled immediately. If you know, for the Moors who are financial wizards, you know about settlement and when settlement takes place of a financial transaction. For example, and I'll explain it to all of us in terms we can all grasp. For example, if in the past when we were asleep, we could write a check, right? And the check, we would write the check to someone, but the check wouldn't clear for 3 or 5 days. That's settlement, okay? Clearing it means that the check has been honored and accepted by the bank, and the bank has sent to whoever it is that we wrote it to the credit. Okay? And when they receive the credit, that's settlement. Settlement is when the credits are received by whoever we give it to. Well, with Moorishe Sovereign Dollarium, settlement is immediate because they actually have the credit in their hands. It's not a check that's not the credit until the credit is given. The Moorishe Sovereign Dollarium is automatically credit because it's gold backed anyway, and it comes from the sovereign heir. So the transaction status is complete immediately on the spot. And then I just put a couple of notes here where I spoke by phone with her on August the 14th at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And then we agreed that she would send receipts by text message of having received the money. And then she created a spreadsheet where she took the money into her account. Okay, now I can show that this 50,000 Moorishe Sovereign Dollarium came out of my account by creating a new sheet, and actually I have it in a different place already. I have my account already set up in a different place, but I want to show you how to set up your account so that you can transfer money back and forth between one another, okay? To set up your account, down here in the corner, you're going to click Add Sheet, okay? And here, when you add sheet, a fresh, new, clean sheet is going to come up, and you can put here appellation, and I usually type everything in, or either I make it so that the whole thing is in red letters, text color red. Okay, and now everything that I put in here is going to be red. And since this is going to be my sheet, up here it's going to change to my appellation, okay? So if you have a fresh sheet, then I would put that this came first. I'll put the balance. So let's say I started out with 1 million Moorishe Sovereign Dollarium. Then whenever something comes through, I can put her sovereign-born appellation and the amount. And this amount was subtracted. So what we'll do is put a formula in here that says minus 50,000. And then ending balance, and let me put an ending balance right here. And I'm just giving you a basic general overview of how you can manage your account. I'm going to put this down here, and then ending balance. And we want this to be in red also. And the ending balance is always going to be equal to this plus this. And it's automatically going to take that $50,000 $50,000 Dollarium out and go back Dollarium. So this is the beginning balance right here. Before the transaction, and then the ending balance right here. And let me make this bigger so that you can see it. I want to make sure you can see. Let's see. I hit the screen bigger. I may not be able to look it. Yeah. Okay. There it is. Okay. I'm going to make it bigger so that you can see it. Uh-oh, not that big. There it is. Okay. So this is what I've done here. Started with my beginning balance of 1 million, ending balance of 950, and that's after this 50,000 was taken out that I gave to her. So this is my ending balance, and this is what I have in my account right now. And you can put whatever amount you want to start with. Okay, I could have started my account. I could have pulled the whole 100 million out of my trust account and put it in here. But I chose not to do that. I'm just going to keep $1 million in there for now. And then, and again, the reason I started with $1 million too is because this is just my own personal things that I'm giving, you know, personal transactions and exchanges, okay? And, but if it's merchant things where the trust is pulled out 100 million and I'm having merchant things happen, then that's going to be a different account, okay? But I was able to give her 50,000, and then she sent me, she pulled Google up on her phone and pulled up her email, and she was able to see where a 50,000 had been sent from me to her. And then all she did was take a screenshot of that and say received, and she sent me the screenshot back saying that she received the 50,000. This is what we're going to have to do while that whole transition takes place, okay? Until we have to show competence at even managing the account, okay? And that's another reason that's going to give us a little more time in terms of using the Dollarium. So again, this is just like Cash App or anything else where you can pull it up on your phone, and if you need to give someone something, you can give them 50,000 into their account too, this same way, and then screenshot it and send it to them. Or you can send it to them by email, okay? And with Cash App, like one time I took Cash App to the grocery store and I couldn't use it after they didn't accept Cash App at the grocery store, even though it was supposedly real money, supposedly. That told me then that we needed to get our own. Just like Bitcoin, people are deciding whether or not they want to receive Bitcoin because it's not even real money. That's why 1 minute they can say we take it, the next minute they can say we don't take that, because it's not real money and neither is fiat. Now, our affidavits being on the public record and the liens and all of that tells everyone that what we have and what we're sending back and forth to one another is real money. But we Moors have to do the rest of the demonstration, okay? We have to do that demonstration where we put our affidavits, notify the grocery stores and everybody, lien the corporate covering off of them, okay? And then we're going to give ourselves a certain amount of credit there, because everything that's in those stores belongs to the Moors. But we must be competent to get it, okay? We have to give an account for everything that we get, even down to forks and spoons and paper cups and all of that. Anything that you buy at a grocery store, we have to give an account for it. And we have to show that we're competent to do that first. That way we can check the system if the system is wrong. Because if you'll remember, when banking was going on, a lot of times we would have to call them and say, hey, that's not right. Your system is wrong. So we have to show now that, okay, we can manage our own system first, and we can do it among one another. And this way we have actually bypassed the banking system first. That's the only way we will ever, and it's not the only way, because there are no absolutes in what we're doing, because we can do whatever we want to do. But this is one way whereby we can exchange money between one another and not have anybody in the intermediary talking about you owe child support or you owe this or you owe that. We're going to take care of all of us. We're taking care of our heirs, okay? So we don't have taxes and things like that. And I said child support because a lot of Moors are dealing with that, where they try and send some fiat and the child support people take it, you know, even though they're feeding their heirs and taking care of their heirs, and their heirs are sitting right there just fine with them. They're doing the right thing by their heirs. But there's an interloper in the way. The IRS, the fake one, they don't have any authority over what we're doing. Our gold-backed sovereign transfers to one another. So why would they be taking anything out? So this is how Cash App and Bitcoin and PayPal and all of them got started. They started out like this, and then after a while, they were doing things so quickly in their system that the banking system didn't have a choice but to go with what they said. Well, now that we're doing this, guess what? We were the ones that the banking system was based on in the first place. So they don't have a choice. They're going to have to go exactly with what we tell them. Now, the way I see this moving forward is that we're going to be able to take Dollarium to the bank and get what we need, but that's going to be when Moors are there. We have to actually do all of the work on our vast estate, okay? In the interim, put them in subject status and send them commands and Dollarium. And when you send them commands and Dollarium, you need to make sure you you note that in your account. Okay? Say that you sent them 100 million in Dollarium, or 50 million in Dollarium, or 10 million in Dollarium. What it's for, when you sent it, who you sent it to, or who you gave it to. So like when I took the Dollarium for my demonstration to the Secretary for State's office, which is our office, there was a Chris Ferguson who received it and started reading it. He took it in his hands and started reading it. Okay, that's acceptance. So they have the 100 million. I had to go into our government account and note that 100 million went to them, and that Secretary for State's office must do what is commanded in those documents. And in the documents stated also what we voted on last week on Thursday. I believe the Thursday or Sunday we took a vote. And that vote is on the public record. So we gave them the subjects there, 100 million. And what are they going to do with that 100 million? Let's go right back to what we said at the beginning of this, at the beginning of our meeting. Here, let's put it up there. Yeah. Let me put it up there. Session. Okay. At the beginning of this meeting, what did we say that they do with the Larian? We deliver it to them. The subject accepts and deposits the go-back credit into the bank. So here's the thing. This is what we're doing. When we give it to the Secretary for State's office, they are making sure that the bank accepts the delarium. So they're actually doing the work for us in terms of banks accepting delarium. And that was the wisdom in giving it in what we're doing. We're sending out delarium with commands to everybody out there, whoever it is. The 7 locations need delarium, etc. In our territories, the Secretary for State office needs delarium. The one doing business as governor, and they're not even in there. I'll just tell you they're not there. But send it to the governor's office, and the governor's office will deposit the delarium with the proper competent instruction into the bank. And that way, they're doing the work for us in terms of getting the banks to accept the delarium. Because, see, the banks need to get that information from them also. They've gotten and again, the commands originate with us. But we needed to give them something to work with. We needed to provide some resources. Okay? So, with that being said, are there any questions or comments about the Moorish sovereign delarium and where we are now? Again, what we're doing is we're giving sovereign commands to those, to sending it to like the governor's office, the Secretary for State's office, etc. The president, whoever it is that's, the custodian who is claiming to be that, which we know that it's the Moors. There is no authority but the Moors. But whatever custodian you want to have that and to do something, policy enforcers need to be put in subject status and made to do as commanded. The military needs to be put in subject status, which they are, and made to do what you command. And then you send them delarium with your sovereign command so that they carry out your will. Will you see them go and arrest somebody? You may, or you may not. We have seen in the news where they've arrested people that we said were acting in corporate status. Okay? And then what we're left with is a subject. So give them commands. Give them some resources to carry out those commands, and then watch. And then carry on with what you're doing. Carry on with your demonstration. Move forward with what you're doing. Okay? Are there any questions, comments, etc.? And you can unmute yourselves if you have something.
Yes, play money is fun, isn't it? Fun time with.
This is Cecil in Kansas Territory. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Anthony.
Okay, I was just wanting to know, you mentioned about a command notice or command letter or something like that. Do we just create our own? That's what we do, or is there something we're following?
Yes. Yes, you create your own. You create your own. So we put some examples out onto the public record of documents that you can use, but you can create your own because, see, you know your specific needs. You know what it is you need. And again, a lien should always accompany Moorish sovereign delarium. A lien and a court action done as liens in court action. The lien should have the court action language at the top.
Tell us exactly which one of the 50 governors that you got in the record.
Boy, I tell you, they don't want it out here, but we're going to get it out here anyway. So always put a lien with your, now, I would encourage all Moors, the lien that you do on the Social Security number and the lien that you do on the
be Pacific, Pauline, who got arrested because of your lien.
Okay.
Lord Kelly in Kansas.
Nom de guerre, Islam. Have y'all ever seen hybrids act like this before? I've never seen them act like this before.
Because your stuff is, you can't prove any of it.
No, you're gonna be quiet in here. They are off the chain today. They do not want this information out there.
He just loves you, Pauline. He loves you so much.
Yes, he does. I know he does, and I love him too. I love all of them because it's 2 or 3 of them. We love them. We love them, and we're gonna keep going. And because we love them, we're gonna remove that corporate cover. So when you do the lien on the, if you don't have anything else to say to the Secretary for State's office and the governor's office, you should be sending them a lien on the Social Security number and a lien on that wardship name and the nom de guerre with some delarium saying that I'm the creditor. Here, this is proof that I'm the creditor because here's the real money. And that court is not me. And I guarantee you they will, and send that to the policy enforcers, send that to the state governor, and send that to the Secretary for State. And I believe this is the information that they didn't want us to get out there and do. Because that's the formula that they've been using in order to take anything from us. The Secretary for State's office was claiming all abandoned property, supposedly. Well, we're saying the property's not abandoned because the heirs are here. So you all that are having issues with mortgages and things like that, you first have to know that the name in black ink and capital letters is not you, and then you notify the mortgage, lien that mortgage company. Lien the Social Security number, lien the fake nom de guerre wardship name, both of those, because that's 2 separate ones. The nom de guerre is the one in black and all capital letters. The wardship name that says you're a ward of the state, of the corporate black dead state, is the name that has the first letter capitalized, and it's in black ink. Those 2 liens right there, or that one lien with both of those on there, as court action and some dolarium, will be able to shut down a lot of that fraud. And then we have to stay terminated from any corporate contract. Okay? So of course, no, they don't want that information to get out of here because all sandwiches are gone. All sandwiches are gone. They can't eat anything off of us, and they're going to have to get in subject status and do exactly what we say. The ones that come into this meeting, the reason they won't state their real name and their real address is because they know what we do work. That's why they keep switching things up and coming in here any kind of way in terms of using all these different names. Use your real name so we can lien it, so we can prove it but we don't even have to do that. The fact that they won't say their real name and their address is proof enough. Say it, and then we'll lien you. But they're already liened. That's the thing. They're already liened. They're just here to anybody who thinks that they have any type of authority, they'll run them off. And the more that know that they don't have any authority, they'll stay and do whatever demonstrations they need to do. Are there any other questions or comments regarding the Dollarium and how to set up your bank accounts and begin transferring back and forth between one another?
Islam. Can you send through their email as well?
Yes. That was what I was going to discuss briefly next, is that you can print the Dollarium off like we did with the demonstration, where the Empress had received a ticket from the fraud, from them fake. And so she sent a court action to me, and she also copied the frauds on that court action, and she sent 10,000 in Dollarium in the email. And then I did a witness court action where I said we recognize her. She had to recognize herself first, so she was very powerful there. We each have to know who we are first. She knew who she was, and then when she sent it to me, I was involved in that email where then I sent a court action back stating that this court recognizes the sovereign empress. She is not any name in black ink and capital letters. She is in capitis, diminutio, nolo, in red ink, in propria personas juris, in proprio solo, in proprio heredes. And we said a few other things about her sovereign status and that this court recognizes her. We are an Article 3 court, and as are all more. And you saw the result of that. We showed the result where they didn't just dismiss a case, because there's a difference between a case being dismissed and a case being closed. Okay? Do the study on the difference between a dismissal and a closure of a case. And they closed the case, they dismissed the officer. Okay? And that was with their court. Because again, the court still isn't her. Even though they had to let their court go, that's still not her. She's her. Okay? So yes, you can send it in email, and I would encourage that because that's actually a good record. Islam nobility.
I got bad connection. You're coming in like Charlie Brown.
Can anyone else hear me? I don't know if that's just your connection or is it all of them? Just one moment.
I can hear you.
I hear you.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
Islam.
I can hear you also.
Yeah. Islam. So, Justice, you'll be able to hear that response. You can just go back and listen to it on the on YouTube, because we're going to put this up on YouTube right after we get done with this presentment. Islam. Are there any other questions or comments, etc., regarding the banking? Because, again, it's going to be important that we control our banking. It's going to be very important that we control our own banking. And that way, when we put it in the hands of the subject, if there's anything that is not right, we will already know because we will have set everything up. Okay? And this is how the hybrids did it when they first came here, too. I've seen some of the instruments that they created that they called checks and instruments, and they were so simple that I'm surprised anybody accepted them. But it was just them accepting their own instruments. Their instruments didn't even have like a letterhead or anything on them. It was just a blank piece of paper saying this is, you know, $50 or $75 or $1,000 or whatever with their signature on it. The way they did things when they first started here was so simple that I know they're probably thinking, When are we going to get that this is not difficult to do? That we just use the tools we have and keep going. Now, one thing I can say too is when you do the spreadsheet, let's just say you wanna send the grocery store whatever you want to send them, $50,000 or $150 in more sovereign dollarium. You can send them a copy of your spreadsheet as well, or you can print off the dollarium, and which is what I would encourage. I would encourage the use of the actual dollarium printed out. I would encourage the use of it printed out, okay? Because they can take the dollarium and go and get credits for that, just like we can once we put the proper documents on the public record. And the proper documents, we already have them. They're right there. And then we record it in our ledger. Okay? So that's how we're starting out, again, sending dollarium by email, delivering dollarium in person, in face-to-face rather, not in person, but face-to-face, and also by ledger. So I was able to electronically give Empress Joniah $50,000 dollarium, even though she's far away from where I am, and not that far away. She's in the same territory, sort of. But I was able to transfer electronically to her. Okay. Are there any other questions or comments about the dollarium thus far?
Islam, Empress Light.
Islam.
I have a question.
Yes, Islam.
It's not about the banking, it's about the public record. You know, we use social platforms for public record also. However, but do you think it would be a good idea, or would you suggest putting it on the public record like in the city or the county that you may be done?
I would suggest notifying them, but what you don't want to do is send something to them and they'll say, oh, or send something to them with some fiat saying record this. You don't want to do that.
Okay.
Because that defeats the purpose. Yes, send it to them by notification with a command and some dollarium saying put this on the record.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Islam.
Yes. And when you do that, send them a lien on the corporate part of them.
Oh, okay.
By court action.
Okay. Okay. Islam.
Yes. That's a great idea, actually. That's a great idea.
Okay. Islam.
Send them a lien, a court action lien.
Do the lien
and
first.
I would send it all at the same time. I would do the lien with the court action language at the top of the lien. The court action language at the top of the lien, and then the dollarium, and then if it's allodial title or whatever it is, and then just tell them, put it on the record. And then you put it on the record yourself, too.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Islam.
Believe it or not, this is actually how anyone else who has brought up anything resembling fiat or anything, some exchange value, this is how they all start everything that they do. It's just a group of them that come together and agree that, okay, we're going to use Bitcoin, and let's just see, let's just start sending it out and using it.
Okay.
And if you know what I'm saying? So, and we're the sovereign. So we should be doing it this way. We are actually the only ones we have more authority than the people who invented Bitcoin. Not invented Bitcoin because we invented it, but the people who hypothecated Bitcoin. The originator of Bitcoin was a Moor. And they keep saying that his name was Satoshi Nakamoto or whatever, but the originator of the original indigenous Bitcoin was a Moor. That's how come you never see that Satoshi fellow that they made up.
Islam.
So, with that being said, Islam nobility. Islam nobility. Was that a question? Okay.
No.
Okay. With that being said, we are going to wrap it up here because we're right at 2 hours. Thank you for the questions and the comments regarding the banking piece, and let's just keep moving forward because that whole banking system is going to stop for a minute in order to clear all that fraud, any fraud that's out there. And we want to be still able to do transactions and exchanges among each other and on our land with proof, okay? In case there's a big earthquake or something and the banking system and I'm not prophesying an earthquake, but they are on the prophetic list. Islam. With that being said, peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heir, Islam.
Peace and love, Empress. Much love. Grand rising. Grand rising.
Grand rising,
Long live the empire. Grand rising.
Islam.
Thank you, Empress. Amazing.
Islam, you're welcome, Empress. Islam.
Peace and love.
Islam. Peace and love, Empress.